Hello my friends, my name's Darren from RC Scale Models, and we have another book review. Again, this one is from Sam Publications. This one is from the Supermarine Spitfire. This is their volume 1 to do with the Merlin powered plant engines. So this is the Merlin versions before it went over to the Griffin. A lot of people say once it became a Griffin Spitfire it was no longer a Spitfire. I totally disagree. But this is just the Merlin stage, so there was a significant change once it went to a Griffin, but we're not going to go into that. This one is number 23 on the book range. Yeah, so let's get into it. Again, you start with your index if you're looking for particular things. We have a little bit of write-up on the Spitfire. Pretty much everyone knows the Spitfire now and its history. It's pretty cool. There's the inventor, Mitchell, R.J. Mitchell. He's also a famous air racing pilot as well. This is the very early days of where the Spitfire started from. Also the Snyder Trophy, the aircraft that he used, the Spitfire was taken from that as well, which we get into, which is here, the aircraft number 8. There was a couple of variants. You can see where the Spitfire got its shape from just by looking at that aircraft straight away. We'll go all into the history of the Snyder Trophy. And then this goes on to the very first Spitfire, but it wasn't actually known as a Spitfire. The name come into it a little bit later. It does say that in the book, but the prototype, the very first aircraft, was known as K5054. It was, the colour was a duck egg green all over type colour, which is like the light green type thing. It was only a two prop propeller, had no weapons at that stage. Later on it did crash. I don't think it shows that in here. There's the aircraft again. There's another one, K554. And then the very first early Spitfires, which we get into now, from 1938 onwards. They also tried to make a Spitfire for high speed racing. This one was painted all in blue with a white lightning stripe down the front, and the canopy wasn't the typical Spitfire canopy, went up and over. It was more sleek line, and it had a four-bladed propeller straight away in really early stages, but why they didn't use that at the start of the war, I don't know why. There's that air racing one, or sleek high speed Spitfire. We have the early Spitfires, earlier Spitfires of Battle Britain. This book is ideal, especially if you have the new kit from Edward. This would be ideal reference material. Later on they decided to make a Spitfire, a photo reconnaissance Spitfire, which had cameras in it. Again, this is all history. This is a nice read up. Then they went on to a Mark II and Mark V and so on. So bigger engines, propeller changes, etc., bigger guns and whatever. In the back of the book there is a section of all the breakdown of each Spitfire and each section that was changed, all the way up to the last Merlin engine, I believe was 9 or 10, and then it went on to Griffin. I could be totally wrong on that. We will see that in the book soon. It's done with Roman numerals, and I do get my Roman numerals completely mixed up. I always have to look it up. So this one here is early Spitfires. These are Mark 5Bs, 1941. Pretty cool. There's going to be a lot of black and white pictures in there. The only coloured ones is going to be the aircraft that is flying today, so the weathering is not going to be beat up. They're going to be pristine machines that are really expensive and aircraft that are highly maintenance and looked after today, so I wouldn't use them as reference material for weathering, because they're going to be clean. Unless you want to do it aircraft, when you build your aircraft as a model, unless you want it nice and clean and it'll be like air show standards, then you can do it that way. So we have some more Spitfires. These are 5, these are not 5s, these are IXCs. See, again, I always get it mixed up. Is this a 9 or 11? I totally get it wrong, but this is one of the early stages of this. Had the cannons in the engine. It went for 4-bladed propeller, long range fuel tanks. These ones, you had upgrades on the front for big air scoops for tropical ones. We'll get into that as well because it's in the book. As I say, this is all the complete variants for Merlin engines. So this Spitfire is a Belgium Spitfire. So it's all different variants. Clip wing Spitfires, that was for high speed and removability. They tried to test it, I don't know if it worked or not. And loads of markings and marks. Spitfire. And it went to a Navy version for a Spitfire, but it got its name designation to a Seafire, but it's still pretty much known as a Spitfire, which is a Navy version. These are tropical ones as well, with the giant air scoop for keeping the engine cool. I think it's to do with not the engine but the oil. And then it goes on to kits. So basic kits that were released at the time of this book being made. For Revell they did a Mark 1, Crows did a Mark 5, Airfix did a Mark 1A and a Mark 5B. Airfix did a Mark IX, again I always get it mixed up so I'm not sure what that is. Revell did a Mark 1 again and a Mark 5B. Hasegawa did a Mark 1A and a Mark 13 V1111. Is that 13? Matchbox did one back in the day, IX and XV1. Hasegawa did a IXC version. Hella did a Mark 5B and a Mark 1. There is a Hella XV1E version. Not sure what that is. Interleri did a Mark 5B. Tamiya do a Mark 1. 5B, 5B Tropical. Monogram do a Mark 2A. It doesn't actually really show you the scales. There's Airfix Mark 5B, Hasegawa's Mark 5B, MPM models do a Mark IXC/E version, ICM do a US variant of the Mark V1111 US Air Force version. Mark 1 from Revell again, Mark 5B, Mark 1A from Airfix. So we go on colour profiles now. These are artist impressions. These are Mark 1s, early Battle Britain. So pretty cool. This one is black on the underside and the other side's white. This is the duckhead green and black. Typical camouflage. These ones are all British. This one here we have from country is that from? Portuguese. Yes, Portuguese. It's Portugal. Back in the day, early 1943 markings. They put that down as. This is RAF. This is RF Tropical. With where was this based? It doesn't say. It's 1942 though, but the camouflage is dark earth with medium stone, brown and blue azure for the bottom. This is British Desert Ones. That's a US Desert One. We have this one here from the Fleet Air Arm, is that? I'm sorry, that's Australian Air Force markings. This one is Spitfire Mark 5B AA853, flown by Wing Commander, whatever that is. That's Polish. That's a Polish marking. British, so British aircraft but Polish pilot. So that's from Polish Squadrons. This one's in British. We have the aircraft in Russian markings. We sent a couple over to Russia. They used them. This one here is Yugoslavia, if that's how you pronounce it. Yugoslavia. I can't say it properly. Yugoslavia. We have this one, strangely in pink markings. Again, there is a little bit of history on this. They wanted to use a P and R blue to blend it for the blue sky, but then it turns out pink blended in with the clouds better. So they did. That's why they only did test, but they only did one, and that was a photo reconnaissance. I do have a kit to do, made by Interceptor. It is a pink Spitfire. I do have the paint for that, which is the paint's done by Vallejo Model Air colours, war colours. So these are RF marking colours. Daytime fighters from 1941 to 45 with the PNR. It's actually known as PNR pink, which is this one here. We have a grey one in RF markings. We have this one here. Where's this one? Fleet Air Arm. Is that the Fleet Air Arm? This one's Australia. This one is American markings, but with that's actually strange. It's, according to this, it's a Royal Danish Air Force 1949, but it's got a Ukraine pilot. Okay. This one here, 1945. This is in British markings. British markings, that's pretty cool. These are British markings. We have this one here, is can't pronounce that. Czech. No, not Czech. That's is that the Netherlands, I believe. This one here, we have the I'm not sure who that is. This one here is this Netherlands as well? No, it's not. It's slightly different. I'm not sure who that is either. It says it there, but I can't read it because I do have difficulty with reading. This one's Danish or Dutch Air Force. Pretty cool. Spitfire in Egypt markings. we get into this in a minute. This one down here you see is in Israeli markings. There was a conflict at the time when Israeli and Egypt were having a little conflict, and it was the only time that Spitfire versus Spitfire ever when occurred. This one is a French one. We have an Italian one, which is all silver. We have this one from Belgium, I know that. This is RAF markings. This one's Belgium, this one's RAF. This is a Fleet Air Arm version. This is now become the Sea Fury, which has the air scoop. This is a tropical one as well. It's got the rest of the hook and stuff, so it's a Navy version. Fleet Air Arm, which was the Navy, Royal Navy's aircraft, were known as Fleet Air Arm aircraft. This one here is US markings, 1942. We have one in Irish markings, so it's like a weird green colour. This one here is a Mark III Spitfire, Fleet Air Arm, but French. Not Fleet Air Arm, sorry, French Navy. Then we go on to colour profiles of cockpits and stuff. Again, these are artist impressions, so be careful how you use these. Different variants, and then it goes on to the very first Spitfire and all the changes that were occurred. It's pretty cool. At some point they went to like 4-bladed propeller with cannons and stuff, and then later on they went back to 3-bladed propellers for strange reasons. Exhaust changes, clip wings, canopy completely changes. It was here you see like a bubble canopy, like a Mustang. Went back to the original canopies. They went back and forwards all over the place with Spitfires. Spitfires can be, I find, one of the hardest Spitfires to get the parts right, because you can completely mess it up, and have to be careful because there's loads of different variants. Especially if you're trying to mimic a particular type and you haven't got the kit that doesn't produce that type, and you want to convert it, you really got to do work and references to get it just right. We have 2-seater trainer versions, which is pretty cool. We have seaplane float ones with giant floats on the bottom. These wasn't known as Spitfires, but I think they were just known as float planes. Mark 5B float plane, Mark IXB. I think IX is 9 if I'm mistaken. Then we have drawings of the cameras for photo reconnaissance, where they were located, one at the side, one in the bottom. Radio equipment, all different parts. And then we go on to aircraft that are around today. These are probably ones in museums, ones are flying. This one's quite grimy, and it has a breakdown of what the individual parts mean. But again, you can use this as reference material if you wish to do so. You'll find inside the Spitfire is quite hollowed out. There isn't nothing in there. It's all silver inside, like a metal. It's only the cockpit section was painted in the chromate RAF type green colour. It's a very light green. The only manufacturer I can know to make a aircraft colour for the RAF is AK and I can't think of the other manufacturer. But again, we have knife reference material of the aerials, extra strengthening plates on the side. There's the bulletproof glass. That wasn't on the very early. That was a little bit later. Till they realised they need to upgrade the aircraft slightly. This is the engine detail, exhaust, piping, the oil pan and stuff. the front part where the propeller goes, the tail dragger, different access ports, the side access port. This one would have had, for an early version, would have been where they housed the first aid kit and stuff, but later versions that hatch would have had a camera in it. More cockpit detail, which is handy to have. We have the wheel bay, tyres, the wings with the gun ports open. This is the bottom of the gun port, I think where the ejector gun shells fall out of. We have this piece, I'm not sure what that is. We have engine detail pictures, exhaust pipes, the piping. So there's a lot of copper piping type used. This is a cockpit detail. Again, it's got green leather. I don't know how accurate that is, but you've got the seat, which is like a brownie colour. We have a red crowbar. Right, now there's a big discussion on this of why it's red. Pre-war and wartime, the crowbar was either black or silver. The red one couldn't come into it after the war. So the first kit manufacturer to try and push everyone to say that it was red and it has always been red was Tamiya. They got it completely wrong. So a red crowbar in the cockpit is after the war. So if you're doing a Mark 1 Spitfire and you put the crowbar in and you paint it red, it's going to be completely wrong. You want to do it silver or black. We have more hatches and whatever. This looks like part of the gun system. Radiator system. What we have here, engine and propellers, whatever the propeller is. That's that piece, I think. Number 806. That's the back plate. We have the propeller system, which is this, what the propeller gets attached to. Oh, propeller, sorry, not propeller, propeller, my bad. We have canopy, weapons, undercarriage, cockpit segments, cockpit pictures number 1. See, this Spitfire has a slight different seat. It's got the brown, but it's got black leather. These are more detailed shots, exhaust, wings. Again, that one's got the red crowbar. That's after the war. Engine and propeller. This is on a different. This is on a Mark 5B. This one's on a Mark IX. Is that 9? Okay, keep saying this is the BBF. This is the Battle Britain version. So again, this is going to be highly restored, looked after. So the weathering is not going to be overly great. So if you wish to do it like this, it's going to be quite clean still. There's going to be a little bit of weathering. It's not going to be perfect. We have wing segments. This is the engine, Rolls-Royce Merlin engine. There's a Merlin engine again, landing gear. So we have drawings now, again, of all different parts. The canopy. These ones are, looks like proper drawings from the wartime that redone. Cannons, the layout of the radiator system with the filters inside. I think that's to do with oil though, not the engine itself. I think it's oil filter and oil cooler. Wings, these are pointed wings, that's another variant. No, they clip wings, the oval shape, loads of different variants. Fuel tanks in the wings. They are, how many gallons are they? You can't see it. The Spitfire carried bombs as well at some stages. Fuel tank behind the engine, just on top. There's the aircraft carrier base version with the folding wings. They had to fold the wings up manually by pushing them up. There's the wing fold. These are more drawings. These ones look like wartime drawings. So there's a very early Spitfire prototype one with the duck egg blue-grey colour type. I would like to build that one, but I'm not sure who actually produces that. You probably get away with taking it from a Mark 1 kit, but it's finding who does the markings for it. That's the thing. We have a Mark 2 model. This is all history. There's a Mark 2B, Mark 2A, Mark 5B, that one. There's one from Egypt, which is a Mark 5C. I think Mark 5 was the first versions to get the cannons and stuff. I think C designated the tropical version as well, if I'm not mistaken. I could be totally wrong. We have this one here with the pointed wings. This is the grey one, pointed wing version. This is a Mark 6. Is V1. Royal Air Force camouflage markings. So these are going to be black and white and kill markings and stuff. We have colour profiles now again of marking Spitfires. These are to do with the lettering and numbers. To my understanding, the letters were designated for the area and the numbers is to do with the squadron, something to that effect. We have the colour profiles on the underside for what they mean and what type of year. So 1938 was all silver. 1939 he went to silver and black. 1938 early to 1949 was white and black. 1940s was the duck egg green colour. 1940s night, which is duck egg green and black. August 1940 again was duck egg green, but that's when the Roundels started to appear. Because this one in 1940s early, basically early 1940, was just nothing, and then halfway through they started to put the Roundels on. April 1941, duck egg again, or sky is known as. There's the azure colour for the tropical version, which is like a blue. And then it went later, August 1941, which was a sky grey medium. More information on countries that had the Spitfire. Obviously the British, because we invented it. We gave it to Denmark, Egypt, French, Greece, India, Ireland, Israelis, and so forth. So hen, this one here, May 1940. It was grey underside. And we're in June 1944. We would have been the D-Day stripes, or invasion stripes as they're known as. This one here is Fleet Air Arm, I believe, or Australian, which is the grey, and it had white stripes, and the marking slightly changed. We have this one here from Belgium, or no, not Belgium, Portuguese. Portugal, that would be Portugal. Grey with their markings. We have this one here, which was the PNR blue colour for photo reconnaissance with Asian stripes. We have the Egyptian one, which had the azure blue with their variants. This one here from Czechoslovakia, is that, if I'm not mistaken. This one here is Belgium. This one here is Norwegian Air Force with their markings. So it goes on to the markings now. This is RAF Roundels. It tells you the roundel number 1. It was 56 inches in diameter. Number 1. Number 2 roundel was 56 diameters. This roundel number 3 is a 40-inch diameter, so it's slightly smaller. The underside, number 4, was 40-inch diameter. Number 6, really small, down to 25 inches. Number 7 was 32 inches, and you get the drift of it all the way down. The ones on the side is number 12, was a 49-inch diameter. So it goes on to the US markings. These 1 and 2 is Australian markings. Number 4 is Russian markings, or Soviet. They put it down as Soviet markings. Number 5 was Czechoslovakia. If how you pronounce it, I can't pronounce that one. Number 6, can't pronounce that. Number 7, I can't pronounce. Number 9, can't pronounce. Number 10 is Israelis. Number 11, Royal Netherlands. This one. And number 12 is Netherlands for the tail. 13 and 14 is Danish or Dutch. Number 15 is French. 16 and 17 is Egypt. Number 18 is Italian Air Force. Number 9 is Belgium. Number 20 was Belgium again, and 21 is Belgium for the tail. These two, 22 and 23, is for Ireland. And then we go on to this, loads of information on all different variants and colours. If I'm not mistaken, these are cross references, colours, charts. So loads of information. So it takes a good reading for a nice sit down and read all the information. Pretty cool. So this goes on to kit listings. Who does kit sizes and who doesn't. Airfix does it and so forth. All your typical manufacturers, pretty much everyone does a Spitfire now these days. Hasegawa, ICM, Airfix, Italy, Tamiya, so forth. This is aftermarket products that is available. Again, you're going to have to do your research to find out if they're still available. But you can pretty much buy a whole tyre aftermarket, and you can probably build a Spitfire out of it. You can pretty much upgrade everything on a Spitfire that is available these days. Then it goes on to decals that are available for different markings, different countries, and so forth. Pretty much every single marking is out there, and every single country is out there. Yes. Again, it's just finding them if they're available still, but they should be. More options. And it goes on to the engine types for the Spitfire. The very first engine, according to this, was a Merlin C, then it went to a Merlin E, and it has all the breakdowns I'm not going to go into it, so we'll be here forever, and the video's coming up to over half an hour already. But I recommend you should check these books out, buy them if you wish to do so, because they are good reference material. So Merlin 2, Merlin 2 Super, Merlin 3, X, which is not 5, but I'm not sure what X is, 10, 12, 20, 22A, 32, 45. It could be to do with the size of the engine as well. We have Merlin 45M, 46, all the way up until the very last Merlin was a pack Merlin 266. And then it went on to Griffins. And then there's discussion of it was no longer a Spitfire, but I disagree with that. This is all to do with Spitfire Variance. The prototype breakdown, again, it's a good read. You want to read it, read all the information. So what engine it had, its flight hours, how long it lasted for, what engine type it had, the wingspan, the total takeoff speed, etc. And then the very early versions, the Mark 1A and the Mark 1 and Mark 1A, all the breakdowns. And it went on to the 2, all the way up until the last variant, which will be, according to this, is the float plane version, which is the but the actual combat Spitfire will probably be, don't include the Sea Furies. Seafire, that's not combat because that's photo reconnaissance. Photo reconnaissance. I'm not sure what LF means. You'd have to go through it and find out. This is a Spitfire tree type thing from the early one, and what way it went. Squadrons, all in this book as well. So pretty much every single squadron, from squadron 1 to 6, 17, 19, 20, 32, all the way up until in RAF we had a squadron of 1,443. That was a squadron number, as high as that, 1435 squadron. Then it went to the Navy Spitfires. Then it was and it's got Army Spitfires for some reason here. And it's the Royal Air Force officer, others. These are photo reconnaissance ones, so according to this is only, no, my bad, there's loads. And then it went on to other countries and what they did with them. All the way through the other countries. What we have here are Spitfires, productions. So this is so this is all the serial numbers now for Mark 1As, and it has all the serial numbers. So according to this, we have, I'm not going to find it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. Sorry, no, it says right underneath. So total of Mark 1s built was 348, and then it went to a Mark 5A and 5B. Total of those were built was hang on a minute, doesn't show. Mark 5Bs they ordered 450, but Supermarine built an order as Mark 1 built as a Mark 5B. You're really going to have to go through this and try and understand it, because it can be quite confusing. I'm getting confused already trying to read it off to you guys. Like this one here for Mark 5. stroke fighter reconnaissance version. They ordered 500, but the Supermarine Spitfire only managed to produce build. Again, it doesn't really say. It's really confusing. Again, it's pretty cool though, all this info. This is more info that I ever knew about Spitfire. I thought I knew quite a bit, and most people thought they knew, but you go into this book and you get all new perspective on the Spitfire. So what we have here, these are pilots, I believe, or yeah, Spitfire histories, and I think these are Spitfires that are currently flying today, and who owns them and whatever. Upgrades, I'm not sure what this is to do with. This is to do with kits. And then we go on to people's kits they built. This is a 1/72nd grey version, 1/72nd Mark 1B and Mark IV version, 1/72nd. There's the PNR blue colour for fighter reconnaissance. The Israeli version, the black one, 1/72nd. You have the 148 from ICM, D-Day Stripe 1, Eddard's 148, Appropriate Pack ones. There's a Desert Scheme one. This one's from Artillery or Artillery, 148. A Special Hobbies one. Come on. Hobby Boss 1/32nd, Mark 5B. It's pretty cool. We have this one here, is from Tamiya, and this one is from Tamiya as well, but with modifications to make it a clip wing and make it a Israeli one, silver, with the yellow nose and yellow tail. So that's all opened up with the engine showing. Pretty cool. Here it is again, nicely detailed. That's pretty cool. Nice detailed work on that engine. We have a 1/24 scale from Trumpeter, which is a large version with the pointed wing version. This is all opened up apart from the engine bay. What we have here, index. This is the index section as well, different parts. When we go on to drawings, I'm not sure. Yeah, so these drawings are 1/48 scale drawings. Again, this shows you all the riveting in places. Again, you'd have to do your references to see how accurate it is and stuff if you wish to do your riveting, because you find some kits like Tamiya, they don't have no rivets and stuff, so if you wish to put the rivets in and you want to do it as close as possible, you could use these if you wanted to, but again, I don't know how accurate they are. I'm not no rivet counter. This is where it gets into a weird discussion, and I'm not going to go into that because it can cause arguments. But again, it's a pretty cool book on the Spitfire. This is the Merlin power plant version, issued 1. There is a second issue which goes on to the Griffin. I'm not sure if I have that one in my stash, but we'll get to it if we do. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you later.